They thought they could control the story, but now the Browns are fighting back, and the media is getting exposed.
Tony, I be hoping you got something positive to say about me. You only say negative stuff about me. And I'm like, I ain't do nothing to you. I ain't see nothing positive that you ever said. I think you're positive every day. But I'm saying, come on, Tony. What I do to you, Tony?
They done froze him all the way out the game. They done froze him. They done froze him all the way out the game. Cats ain't even getting their questions answered. Emails ain't been returned. All that little access you had before, it's getting dark and spooky out here. It's getting dark early. And they got all the names. You notice this? I'm just telling you. You notice how all of a sudden...
Yo, if you are a Browns fan, or honestly just an NFL fan who is tired of the media lying on young players, you need to stop whatever you are doing right now. Because what just went down in Cleveland is sending shockwaves through the entire NFL world. The Browns didn't just push back. They didn't just complain. They took action. Real consequences have consequences action. Reporters are getting frozen out. Emails are not being returned. Access gone. And it all ties back to one name, Shedeur Sanders. Stay with me because this story is wild from start to finish. Welcome back to the channel, people. If you are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now and ring that bell so you never miss a video. We keep it real, we keep it raw, and we keep it 100. Always. Now let's get into this thing because Cleveland just changed the game on how NFL organizations deal with the media.
It's sad, man. The level of hate is sad. We got an NFL insider, Browns insider, Adam Kaplan, up here capping on the damn station, lying about Shedeur Sanders. Have you noticed whenever these people get on the airwaves and lie on Shedeur Sanders, they never say anything specific. It's always vague. Oh, well, sources are, they just say that, they didn't know if he loved the game of football. They never say specific things because every time they try to lie and get specific, it gets debunked and exposed. Like Rex Ryan saying Shedeur Sanders sits in the back of the meetings and we see video of him in the front of the meetings. All of these lies get exposed over and over and over. So what are they doing now? They're being very vague. They're not being detailed about the lies they choose to run with. We got to break this thing down, man. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification and hype the video. We got to get into this, man. Disgusting, nasty work. These dudes keep lying. They never get specific. They never say names. They never say where something happened, when it happened. They always lie and try to be vague about it so that they can't get exposed on the details. Let's take a...
They ain't gonna let you forget. And guess what? The Browns know that. You see, when we come up in a little bit later on, I'm going to tell you what the consequences are for this behavior. Because behind the scenes, they got the names down. I didn't know the list was that extensive. They got the names. They got the names of the culprits.
All right, so here is what you need to understand first. When the Cleveland Browns hired Todd Monken as their new head coach, and when owner Jimmy Haslam decided it was time for a real culture change, nobody realized just how serious they were. Most people thought it was going to be the same old Browns, same dysfunction, same drama, same front office saying one thing and doing another. But something shifted, something changed inside that building in Berea. And the first sign of that change, they started paying close attention to who was saying what about their quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. Now here is the thing about Shedeur Sanders. This young man came into Cleveland as a rookie last season and dealt with everything. Bad offensive line, inconsistent coaching, a fan base that was frustrated, and on top of all of that, a local media that was not in his corner, not even a little bit. Instead of building him up, instead of giving him a fair shot in the coverage, certain reporters and insiders were out here pushing negative narratives, spreading stories that were not fully accurate, and some of it straight up dishonest. We are talking about people who had access to the building, access to the locker room, access to coaches, and they used that access to tear down a 23-year-old rookie quarterback who was just trying to find his footing in the NFL. And guess what? The Browns were watching the whole time. They were watching, they were documenting, and they were building a list. Now this is where it gets serious. According to what has been reported and discussed across Browns media circles, the new regime inside Cleveland has a list, and I do not mean that loosely. They have names, they have evidence, they know exactly who was leaking negative information, they know who was pushing false narratives about Shedeur Sanders, they know who was working behind the scenes to undermine this kid before he even had a real chance to prove himself. And the consequences? Real consequences. Not a tweet, not a press conference statement, real professional consequences. Reporters who were formerly getting insider access to the Browns organization, emails are not being returned. Interview requests sitting on red. That close relationship some of these insiders had with the previous regime under Kevin Stefanski, that pipeline is closed permanently.
I can't really get you up out of here because I don't really have a pool. The owner controls that. But you know what the owner looks at? He looks at polls. He looks at revenue. He looks at newspaper articles. And if I could get the media and I could get the people whipped up vicariously, I'm the power behind the king. I'm the shadowy organization. I'd argue that media outlets can get you put in a situation or taking you out. The problem is, we found you out.
Think about that for a second. These are reporters who built their entire Browns coverage around having inside access. Their credibility on the beat came from knowing things before other people. And now, that well is completely dry because they abused it, because they thought they could say whatever they wanted about Shedeur Sanders with zero accountability. The new Browns front office, Monken, Haslam, and the people around them, they made a business decision. If you are going to use your platform to spread dishonest stories about our quarterback, then you do not get to benefit from our cooperation anymore. Simple as that. And you know what is even more interesting? Some of these same reporters and insiders have suddenly changed their tune. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, the coverage is softer. The takes are more fair. Some people are even quietly walking back things they said about Shedeur earlier in the season. Why? Because the writing is on the wall. They see what is happening to the people who did not adjust, and they are making a business decision to survive. Now I want to talk about why this matters, because some people are going to say, well, that is just how the media works. Reporters are going to write what they want. Freedom of the press. I get it, but there is a difference between honest criticism and a coordinated effort to destroy a young man's reputation before he has even played a full NFL season. There is a difference between covering a story and creating a narrative designed to push a player out. Shedeur Sanders dealt with stuff last season that went beyond normal rookie struggles. The media coverage around him was personal, it was targeted, and a lot of it had nothing to do with football. When reporters are more focused on how he pats the ball at the line of scrimmage than on the fact that he was operating behind one of the worst defensive lines in the entire NFL, that tells you everything you need to know about the agenda. And here's something else people forget. Shedeur Sanders finished the season starting. He led this Browns team to back-to-back AFC North wins to close out 2025. As a rookie, with limited weapons, with a shaky offensive line, and still, certain media members were out here acting like he was a disaster.
Some people have made a business decision. They didn't, hey, listen. The writing on the wall. AB and Monken ain't playing. I need to walk this back. Where Tony Grossi at? Tony been quiet. Tony and Chops. Y'all been quiet. They done. Let me slide to the left. Boom. 2 hops this time. Boom. Slide to the left. Boom. 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 They Cupid shuffling all the way from them narratives. I got to go. Notice them.
Meanwhile, Shedeur spent his entire offseason in Cleveland. In the building, working out, watching film, preparing. While reporters were writing hit pieces, he was grinding. While people with press credentials were pushing false stories, he was in the weight room. That contrast right there, that is character. That is the kind of thing that matters to a coaching staff. And Todd Monken noticed. He literally went on record and said Shedeur has been in the building constantly this offseason. He even pointed out that fellow draft pick Dillon Gabriel has not been around. That is not an accident. Monken is not just making small talk, he is sending a message, loud and clear, about who he trusts and who he respects. Here is the bigger picture that everyone in the NFL world needs to understand. What is happening in Cleveland right now is bigger than just one reporter losing access. This is about a franchise drawing a line in the sand. This is about an ownership group that is finally saying enough is enough with the media manipulation. Because let's be honest, the media has enormous power over how fans perceive players. When reporters consistently push negative stories about a quarterback, it shapes public opinion. It affects how fans talk about the player on social media. It creates pressure on ownership to make personnel decisions based on emotion rather than facts. That is real power, and some people in the Cleveland media abused it. The Browns, under Haslam and Monken, are essentially saying, we see the game you are playing, and we are not participating. You want to use your platform to destroy our quarterback? Fine, but do not expect us to make it easy for you. Do not expect us to hand you quotes, sound bites, and exclusive access that you are going to weaponize against our own players. This is actually a model that more NFL franchises should follow. When media coverage crosses the line from criticism into dishonesty, there have to be consequences. Not legal consequences, not public arguments, just simple, professional consequences. You lose access, you lose cooperation, you lose the inside track that makes your job easier. And that is exactly what is happening in Cleveland right now. Look, at the end of the day, Shedeur Sanders has not asked for any of this drama. He just wants to play football. He just wants a fair shot to compete for the starting job in 2026 and show this league what he is capable of. And with Todd Monken in his corner, a coach who literally wanted to draft him in Baltimore, he finally has someone who believes in him. The reporters who lied, they are learning that actions have consequences. The Browns organization, they are sending a message that this new era is different. And Shedeur Sanders, he is showing up every single day and letting his work speak louder than any false narrative ever could. That is the real story out of Cleveland. And honestly, it is about time. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button and hit subscribe if you have not already. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the Browns made the right call cutting off these reporters? Let me know. I will see you in the next one. Let's go.